Hey guys, this is Justin at the Survivor Review, and after a week-long hiatus, Ash vs. Evil Dead is back, with an episode that is just a complete treat for Evil Dead fans. I am talking about episode 9 for season 2, titled Home Again. Now what's weird about this episode is that I actually watched it twice before doing this video, because the first time I watched it, I actually wasn't too big a fan of it, surprisingly enough, especially if you've seen this episode, you know that this one is just full of Evil Dead references. They return to the cabin in this one, so you'd think I would love it, but honestly, I don't know, I wasn't too into it. I had a lot of issues with it, but watching it again, I appreciate it more, and I actually like it a lot better. I think it's a really fun and solid episode. So this episode begins right after Pablo's death from the last episode, and Ash is not coping with it very well. He's high and drunk and just doing donuts in his car while talking to Pablo's dead body, which is in the passenger seat. And he keeps talking about how he wishes he could just go back in time and undo all this, and in this high, drunken state, Pablo comes back to life and starts talking to him and tells him, why not just go back in time and you could undo all this. So he grabs Ruby and Kelly and basically forces Ruby to read the passage that'll send them back in time, and they end up going back in time to 1982. So Ash can go to the cabin and destroy the book before young Ash ever reads it and unleashes all the evil. And of course, things just don't go as planned. Now, I really liked the idea of this episode. When I saw the preview for it last week and saw that they're going back to the cabin, I was kind of like, oh really? That's what you're doing? Is this like the thing that the show does now, that at the end of every season they go back to the cabin? I was like, you did that already, there's no need. But when I found out what they were actually doing with it story-wise, that they were time traveling back to the 80s to undo all this, I thought that was really smart and really cool. I love that idea. I think it's so cool. And the best part is, this is the first episode of the show to finally reference Army of Darkness. Because when Ash is questioning the whole thing of like going back in time, what? He goes, wait, I've done that before. I traveled to the medieval times. And when I saw that, I'm like, yes! I love that they're finally referencing Army of Darkness. They're finally able to do that, and I think that's great. It just connects the entire series. It's so cool. And then another thing story-wise, this adds a really interesting element to the backstory of the Evil Dead. Because we all know about the character of Nobi, Professor Nobi, who finds the book, reads from it, accidentally gets his wife Henrietta possessed, and has to lock her in the cellar. That's all we ever knew about him. Well, this episode we actually find out more about him, and it's a little twisted. It's pretty friggin' weird, because Ash gets to the cabin, and in my favorite line of the episode, totally meta, just referencing the messed up continuity of these movies, Ash goes to the table where the book should be, and it's not there, and he goes, but wait, I found the book here. And he goes, oh wait, did I find it in the cellar with Scotty? Which is just a great callback to how he found the book in the cellar in the first movie, but in the prologue of Evil Dead 2, he found the book on the table. And I'm like, that's smart. That's really funny. I love that reference. It's just great. And so he goes into the cellar and comes across Henrietta, who is a human and everything. She's chained up to the wall, and she's saying that Professor Nobi is crazy and keeping her tied down here, thinking that she's possessed by the Book of the Dead. And of course you think that, oh, she's lying. She's a Deadite. You saw Evil Dead 2. But there's also another part of you that's like, maybe she's not. Like, you're kind of conflicted on this. And then, of course, Ash doesn't believe her. He just starts slapping the crap out of her. And then, all of a sudden, the door opens, and Professor Nobi walks in with a student of his. And he brings her down to the cellar. And something sinister seems to be going on. So Ash sees that this is some weird shit, so he believes Henrietta and unties her. Which leads to one of the best reveals ever. Right after he unties her, you hear Professor Nobi reveal that his wife Henrietta got possessed by the Book of the Dead. And he's trying to transfer the demon from her into the student of his. Which just leads to the best moment of Ash just thinking, oh crap, I fucked up again. Because Henrietta really is evil. But before we get to Henrietta, that's really screwed up, and that's what Professor Nobi has been doing, is bringing students down to the cellar to put the demon into them. That's screwed up. That's another element that I've never really thought about when I was watching the previous movies. It just adds more to the mythology of the series and to the movies. When I'm watching them again, and I hear Professor Nobi talking in the corner, I'm be thinking, that's a screwed up guy. That's not just a nice old professor who just happened to find a book and read from it. He is a little screwed up, and I love that. And then Henrietta. We see Henrietta as a Deadite. She starts fighting Ash, and it's the actress who's playing Henrietta in that scene in Deadite makeup. And I'm like, oh, that's cool now. It looks kind of similar to how she's going to look in Evil Dead 2, and she's more screwed up and, like, grosser. And I'm like, that's cool. I like that. And I was thinking, you know, they got Ted Raimi in this season. That would have been funny if just when she pops up on the Deadite, they just have Ted Raimi play it. But you know what? I understand why they didn't. That makes sense. That's totally cool. And then Henrietta transforms and becomes the big gross out creature from Evil Dead 2 and is played by Ted Raimi, which is just awesome. It's like not only did they cast Ted Raimi in the show to play a character earlier in the season, they also brought him back to play Henrietta, which is just hilarious, and I thought that was really cool and a lot of fun. And this episode ends on a cliffhanger with Ash and the students stuck in the cellar having to have to face off against Henrietta. Great cliffhanger. So why did I have issues with this episode at first? I think it was because a lot of the stuff that happens in this episode is a lot of references and callbacks to the movie. It didn't feel too original. Like, one of the things I really liked about the last 3 episodes of Season 1, when they went to the cabin, even though it was something that we had already seen twice in the first 2 Evil Dead movies, people stuck in the cabin having to deal with Deadites, it still felt unique and fresh. And like in this one, you have a scene where Ash stubs his toe on a nail, and that causes his leg to start to get possessed, and he decides to cut it off, and he goes, no, maybe I shouldn't, and he ends up sucking it out, like sucking out venom from his leg, which I thought was a very unique take on that. I like that idea, but that causes evil to get inside of him, and there's like a deadite inside of him, and that sequence was fun, but what it really boiled down to was just a mashup of the evil hand from Evil Dead 2 just throwing him around in the kitchen, and the little evil Ashes running around in Army of Darkness with him having to drink the hot water and everything. It just felt like a mashup of that, and wasn't that original. And then, of course, Henrietta comes in. That's not as original. And then you have Ruby and Kelly, who are in the woods, and them getting attacked by, of course, a possessed tree. So, I don't know. At first, when I watched the episode, I wasn't too into it. I was like, okay, it's just a bunch of references and stuff like that. It wasn't as unique. Watching it again, though, knowing what to expect, I appreciate it a lot more, and actually really like it. I don't think it's one of the best episodes of the season, but I still think it's really good. I like whenever it did something unique with the ideas. Like when the evil starts spreading in his leg, Ash decides to just cut it with scissors and suck out the evil. I thought that was a very unique idea, and it's a very unique twist on something that we've seen many times before. And I like the expansion of the mythology with Nobi actually kind of being a bad guy. I thought that, well, he's not really a bad guy. He's trying to do good. He's trying to save his wife, but his method is a little screwed up in a way. And that was really interesting. I like that. I like them time traveling back to the first movie in order to stop all of this from happening. I really like that. And it made them going back to the cabin not feel forced and unnecessary, because with the way Season 1 ended, you basically never need to go back to the cabin again in the show, just because they basically did all they really could with the cabin in the woods concept at this point. But this was a unique way to bring back the cabin and have it not feel in your face obvious. There were a few things that felt a little rushed or a little too convenient, I would say. With the beginning of the episode where the passage for them to go back in time happens to be right like on the front of Pablo's chest, and Ash knows what that passage is right away, even though it's like none of it's in English or anything. Like he knows that right away. Oh yeah, that's the passage to go back in time. I thought that was a little kind of rushed and just really quick. Like he looks at his chest, goes, "Oh, that's it," and gets Ruby to read it, and they go back. And it's like, oh okay. That was a little fast. Again, it's so weird that I didn't really like it at first. I found it to be pretty disappointing, actually. But on rewatch and reevaluating it and thinking about it, I actually really like it and think it's just a ton of fun. But either way, that was episode 9 of Ash vs. Evil Dead. Really solid, really fun return to the cabin. Again, love seeing Henrietta again. Just a lot of cool things in this one. Just a lot of fun elements to it that I really enjoyed. And I can't wait for next week's season finale. It's probably going to be crazy, and I just can't wait for that. So, that's about all I got to say for now. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.